Hello, beautiful people of the world. Today I'm going to be talking about Mercury in Scorpio, which I think is interesting because of this lighting. It was light when I turned on the camera, and then as soon as it started recording, I got shrouded in darkness. But um, I suppose that's part of what I'm channeling through. So, as of all these Mercury videos that I've been making, I want to break it down into three parts. The first part being your communication style, the second part being your thought process and the way that you think, and the third being the kind of knowledge that you have access to. So, in terms of communication, Mercury in Scorpio is someone that will just go 100% with the topic. They're not really one for polite conversation, though. Even though I'm saying that, they definitely know how to present themselves and they know how to be careful, but they hold back quite a lot. And even though they think that they're not communicating what they're holding back, it seeps through every pore that they have. They're not really able to not take it to 100%. They're not going to be able to have you bring up a political topic and not jump in with all of their feelings and emotions and perspectives. They're not going to just say, like, oh, whatever, I don't care about that opinion. They don't really brush anything off or talk about things lightly. If you want to talk about the spirit world or animals or current events or emotions or thoughts, they are really going to flesh out every possible angle of that conversation because that's what's interesting to them. Scorpio is trying to understand everything. They want to dig up the depths and find the darkness and find all the little itty bitty gritty details of life, and they want to find them. They want to discover things and observe things. And it's not even that important necessarily that they share it with other people, but because this is a Mercury Scorpio, that's what they do want to do. Once they find all this new information that exists out there in the world through like deep diving into the subconscious realms and into themselves, they want to communicate it with other people. They want to share what it is that they found, and they want to have a conversation at its own depth to the topic. So they tend to seek out people that have a lot of intelligence, a lot of knowledge, a lot of power, that have a really good ability to communicate. Otherwise, they are not going to feel like it's worth their time to talk about the things that they want to talk about. Um, they tend to talk about very dark, serious topics. They're not really lighthearted. They don't really talk to laugh or have fun. They talk to learn and to get to the core of a situation and understand more. And they will pull that out of you. Mercury in Scorpio is someone who will kind of scan out the room, see who they want to talk to, and then like pull or extract energy out of them. Um, and like pulling it into their depths. Mercury, Scorpio is very gravitational, and they're able to magnetize these things out of other people. So you might be able to have people talk about things they never normally would talk about. And because of this, you can be incredibly inspiring with your communication style. You might talk to people and have them say, "Oh my God, I never thought about it that way," or "Wow, that's really incredible that you brought that up. That's making me think of X, Y, and Z and all these different things." And so you'll get a lot of reaction out of the way that you communicate. But you're also, as much as you dig, you can be very private about your deepest, most inner thoughts that you really don't want to share, except Mercury's going to try and push it out of you. So you're going to constantly have these like deep secret things that are occupying a lot of spaces in your mind, and you're not necessarily going to want to reach out and ask people for help or have them understand that part of yourself. But one thing or another is going to happen where you're really pushed to share that with people. And that's when you can really heal and allow growth into those areas of your life. So if you find that there's certain things that are really challenging for you to talk about, those are the things that you probably should be talking about if you really want to understand more about yourself. Um, you can kind of sense people's subconscious intentions behind the way that they socialize. It's very difficult for people to lie to you. You can kind of read people like a book, and you engage in a conversation out of courtesy because a lot of times you already know what they're going to say or what they're feeling. But obviously, that wouldn't be cool to just do that all the time without giving the person the opportunity to express themselves and share what they want to express. So just be careful that um, you might know a lot of things about people without them necessarily having offered or told you those things. So pay attention to what they do tell you, because then that's an appropriate thing to know about them, um, and to follow up on. So, what else do I want to say about communication? Mm, yeah, you don't really lie either. You might think that you have things hidden, but you have too much integrity for that, and you pretty much cycle through things as you need to without holding back, and you have the ability to really hurt people with your words. You know how to do that. You tend to know what's gonna crush someone, and you only really use that when you need to. But you can use words as a weapon, certainly with this placement. Um, so just be careful of that. Um, so the way that your thought process works is it's this endless search. It's this endless quest for more knowledge, for more experiences, for more depth and realism and understanding and epiphanies and catharsis and all of the really intense emotional experiences in life that you can obtain through the mental body are constantly cycling on within your mind, and you're probably spend a lot of time ruminating, meditating, calculating, analyzing, and observing the information that you already have, in an effort to learn new things. So you have sort of a digestive process within your brain of everything that you've taken in that day and throughout your entire lifetime. And if you don't have any new intake, you can still just keep breaking down all the things that you have observed already, to that point. And it gives you a lot of entertainment and a lot of mental stimulation. Like, you don't need to rely on other people to stay mentally stimulated. You don't need to rely on TV or music or books or television. I think I said television twice, but um, you can simply use your own intellect and observations to occupy a lot of your mental energy. Um, yeah, you can sink into a very deep meditation about any topic that you want to and continuously add more things to your catalog. And that is a very fascinating process for you. Your mind is almost like a vacuum. It's empty, but it is infinite, and you are trying to constantly fill it with things, but break things down, and rearrange things within your head. It's a comfort zone for you. You spend a lot of time within your mind. And I fixed the lighting. I should have just done that at the beginning. Um, but you spend a lot of time within the darker aspects of your consciousness and just trying to really understand reality and how it came to be and why it is and why these things are happening and the machinations behind the universe and the pieces and the steps and the puzzle. And like, it's so endless, and it might even drive you to insanity at times, because it can be very obsessive, this search, this longing, this need, and it is what drives you, and it pulls you forward, and it pulls you into a project or a research topic, and you just lose yourself and you can just go blank. Your thought process a lot of times is just completely blank because you're lost in the process of interacting with the knowledge that you're trying to gain. So there is a lot of infinite depth and emptiness at the same time that really occupy the way that your brain works. And that is very interesting. It's hard for me to fully lose myself into that experience because I feel like I would lose myself. But to any of those of you who have this placement, I'm sure that you know what I'm talking about. And then in terms of knowledge that you have access to is really these deeply esoteric bits of information that can only be granted to those that have the bravery and the patience to pursue them. They might not seem worthwhile to a lot of other people. The information that you gain after going through so much deep introspection and contemplation, and a lot of times pain and trauma that you have to overcome in order to learn these lessons, they are very spiritual in nature. They can have some sort of occult knowledge or ties. They might be attributed to very alternative sources of information, whether that be extraterrestrial or even earthly in terms of medicine or necromancy or spellcraft, um, potion making, magic, animal communication, mediumship. These are psychic realms of information that you have exclusive access to. Not that other people can't reach it, but you're able to reach it simply through the mental plane. You might have really good psychic or telepathic, empathic skills, probably all of them. You might not be fully aware of your own abilities to tap into these things, and you might channel them through more practical or grounded means. Um, but just know that that is the kind of knowledge that you have access to that is very unique to you, and it might require sacrifice of time and energy or something physical in your life to really learn things that no one else could ever know, that you don't even have the ability to share, that I can't even tap into on an individual level. And that is a really beautiful gift of this sign. It might not always be easy to have the burden of your intelligence and your psychic abilities and this constant obsessive seeking for depth and knowledge, but at the same time, it makes you more brilliant than many. Um, and if you can utilize these gifts to their fullest potential, then it will grant you quite a lot of power and it will really transform your life. So these are all very general observations of this Mercury placement, but if you learned something, if you resonated with this, please give me a thumbs up. And if you want to check out any of the other work I do, I will put a link to my website in the description. So have a good day.